Welcome to the 2026 Friendly Awards here on Friends from Work. It's one of our favorite annual traditions where we celebrate what 2025 brought us inside the MCU. So this is the best of 2025 for 2026 in season 7. Yes, it's always that confusing thing, but welcome back to the awards. Robbie, without further ado, here you go. Ready? Oh yeah. The 2026 Friendlies. Wow. This is the same song I've used every year.
Every time though, it gets me there.
It just works.
It just works.
Rob, it was a fun year in 2025 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Man, I always love this this part of the year, if only, or part of the season, I guess, if only because I forget sometimes everything that came out in a year. It's like by the time we're to this point, like it all kind of blends together sometimes, especially as we're doing like the rewatch orders, and things get like pulled out of release order and I kind of forget where it actually fell.
Right.
But this was a really fun year. And it was fun for me because you took the like laboring oar here in terms of pulling out the initial list of nominees. And so as I got to kind of read back through, it's such a contrast to like 2024.
Yeah.
When especially on the movie front, Deadpool and Wolverine was great and it was a big hit. But it was just kind of like,
yeah, it makes it less fun for us when everyone's nominated from one movie and that's it.
Right. And it was like, that was the big, like not only the big, it was the only movie, but I also think it was just kind of like the big moment of the year, Marvel wise. So like looking back and like you and I have talked about a lot since they came out, I think just having Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts in a year together, when I think you can make a really good case for either of those being the best movies, best like Marvel movies of 2025 is really fun because they both also do different things really well. And then like getting into some of the shows here, like you and I talked about how great Ironheart wound up being, but also like Daredevil Born Again was this year. And then like Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which was also great. Like it was, for the most part, a pretty stacked year. Like I would say this is the best year quality wise, like the most fun year from like an award season perspective that we've had in 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yeah. You talk about forgetting ones. I think the most forgettable thing was Echo, because if you remember what happened was they dropped all of Echo at once, I think like January 2. So we were actually tracking the friendlies already for the last year, not including Echo. So by the time we got to tracking the 2024 friendlies, it had been literally 13 months since Echo had come out. And so when you talk about looking back at you're like, oh yeah, Echo was in there. Yeah, I remember that earlier this year. I don't have it as much this year because I feel like a lot of the stuff this year, like you said, was a little more memorable than I maybe anticipated some of it being. A couple of tweaks here this year that I want to announce. In past years, I think we just took, like with a category like Best Addition to the MCU, we would include animated stuff in that as well. I kind of personally, and I don't know how much you've changed it or edited it, I kind of scrapped that idea. I kind of think we should, going forward, keep the animated stuff really separated from the live action stuff. So I stopped giving nods to animated nominees except for the animated awards. Now I'm open to, if there's like a slam dunk within the MCU animated project that just someone blows you away, I'm open to that discussion. But for the most part, the very nature of it being animated kind of feels like that means it's not going to be the sacred timeline. And therefore, I just don't think it's a weird addition. So I also felt like in the past, we would get to like best voice actor and we would just nominate almost anyone who was in What If, for example. I tried to this year isolate a couple people maximum to be like, these are the best ones and not just read, 12 other voice actors. So that's another kind of heads up. As a reminder, these awards are nominated by us, but they are chosen by our committee, which is Friends from Work plus subscribers. So if you subscribe on Patreon, obviously we'll get you the link right there on Patreon. But if you're a Friends from Work plus subscriber on Apple or Spotify, there's no way for us to distribute this link directly to you unless you message us. So if you want to be a part of the voting, which we'd really like, voting is usually open for 5 or 6 days or so. You're going to have to get a hold of us somehow. Our contact form or hello@theffwpodcast.com, and we can send you the link. We'll probably drop it on Discord as well if that's your only way of communicating with us. Also, I want to say on the ffwpodcast.com, we have a fun link at the top under the Engage tab that's called the Hall of the Friendlies. And it's actually a really fun way to see what person won every category throughout the years. I think this is probably year 4 or 5 for us doing this. And so it's kind of fun. You can click on it and see a drop-down menu of, who won Best Edition last year? Who won in 2022?
Yeah.
I think those are all my disclaimers. Those are all my behind the scenes that I think you'll enjoy if you spend some time looking into that stuff.
Yeah, no, I feel I like the way that we've sorted this out, particularly what you were saying about the animation. I think it keeps things a lot cleaner.
The only other thing I'll add before we start, Robbie, on a different episode, I don't think it's next week either, I do want to dive into an update on my rewatch again. I'm on Infinity War. I'm just stunned at how good Infinity War is. I posted on social media about it all last night. I literally have chills almost the whole movie. Every scene, I get chills. There's something from every scene. Just the interactions, like seeing all the different fights. We'll get into it at a different time. So I can't believe, I can't believe we have that movie. I said, Donica, if you're a comic book fan, can you imagine the feeling of watching Doctor Strange fight alongside Iron Man and then Spider-Man comes in to save the day, and then we cut from Thor and Loki getting destroyed, but they have a Hulk there with them, and then he loses, and it's Thanos, and that whole interesting, and then it cuts to the Guardians, and they meet Thor, and then you get them together, and it's just like it, and then it cuts to Vision and Wanda, and they're having this sweet moment that gets ruined, but then they get saved by Black Widow and Captain America and Sam out of nowhere, and so then they go see Rhodey. It's like this is, and then they're like they don't know what to do. So then they're talking about, and they don't know what to do. So then they go to Wakanda, and then all of a sudden Bucky's there, and Black Panther's there, and Shuri's there. It's like it doesn't make sense that we could be eating that good. It might be the greatest movie ever made. Let's just call it spade a spade. And then the other thing is I'm so excited to get to the rewatch of the multiverse, because as we will find out with this. What's unique about the Friendlies for me is I nominate these, but some of them I've only seen one time, or maybe 2 times. You and then with Annika, like Thunder or Ironheart. I only watched one time by the time we were doing it. So I'm excited to revisit those, and so we'll have to do some rewatch episodes as I get further along in the journey, I think. Okay. The 2026 Friendly Awards. We start with our first category, Best Addition to the MCU. All these categories are long running now. This is like 5 years running of these categories. So Robbie, go ahead. Start us with the Best Addition to the MCU. Oh, last disclaimer. We're going to botch some of the names, and we don't do it to be offensive. We just are trying our best. Okay? Thank you. Robbie, you're up.
Yep. This is true. Best Addition to the MCU in 2025. Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross / Red Hulk. Here's my first butcher, Margarita Lavieva as Heather Glenn. Somewhere Lance. Every time I say that, I picture Lance somewhere like he has this implicit knowledge of how to pronounce everything. He's very kind. He's very polite. It's just I know that like behind
you're disappointing him.
He's silently judging. Yeah, no, that's a better word. He's disappointed.
Yeah. You should be better.
Heather Glenn, who folks will remember from Daredevil Born Again. Lewis Pullman as Bob / Sentry. Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto. And Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm.
So as a heads up, we're not going to give our thoughts on who we would vote for because I don't want to influence any of our votos out there. I'll just say Sacha Baron Cohen, I think, shows up a couple of times. So that's one of those ones where it's a little bit hard to decide. Is he an addition? Is he under best villain? Can they be under both, etc.? So maybe if you're thinking about that one, know that you'll also have another chance, I think, under best villains, I think, FYI.
Yeah. It's almost worth, I think, like before you hit submit at the end, maybe looking back through, because every time I go through this, I start to think, oh, like, why didn't we nominate this person for this category? And then like the very next category, I say that they're nominated for that, and it makes more sense.
You're
So
like,
I do
oh,
think
yeah.
that's a good call out.
Best on-screen team up: Captain America and Falcon for Brave New World. Daredevil. By the way, that's so funny. I just reading that aloud, I'm like, wait, what? Oh yeah, different Captain America, different Falcon.
I know. I was thinking that too.
Daredevil and the Punisher. Yelena and the New Avengers. Ironheart and Natalie, or the Fantastic Four.
Best jaw drop: Red Hulk emerges. Foggy falls. Bob rises for the first time. Levitation scene. Riri takes the deal, and Sue births a space god while escaping a space god.
Yes. Robbie went through and edited the names. That makes me so happy because I just typed the literal scene, and you gave it way better. Oh,
I just get the fun part.
What's interesting here is jaw drop, right? There's a couple categories where it's like, is jaw drop better than or different than most surprising, or like cameo appearance? There's things like that. I went jaw drop as far as not moving, not emotional, but more like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. They're doing this. And so, yeah, like I think Riri at the end actually taking the deal, for example, I remember being more like, oh my gosh, that's what they did, more than any other moment in the show per se. Is that fair? Yeah. And I remember the first time Bob, like they're shooting at him and he gets up and then starts levitating. I remember grabbing your kneecap going like, oh my gosh. And then he takes off. Now, obviously, I was debating between that and him in the Avengers Tower destroying all the Avengers, because I remember going like, oh my gosh, he's so overpowered. But I think I gave that to Best Action Sequence. So just to be fair there.
Yeah. And there was kind of a nice moment, like, and part of it is the Sun Lux score for Thunderbolts, which if you haven't heard our interview with those guys,
true,
you should check it out because that was fun. But I think that there was kind of a nice like ambiance there, like this mysterious undertone. So there is kind of it is a nice jaw drop moment in that movie, especially because the movie starts out so grounded. Right. And then that's the first time you kind of get into that mode.
Literally not grounded. Best action sequence. Okay, the Celestial Island fight in Captain America Brave New World. Daredevil and Punisher versus the Law. This is when the cops show up to the apartment. Excuse me. Sentry reigns supreme. This is what I was talking about. The fight in Avengers Tower and kind of that fallout right afterward.
Mm-hmm.
Ironheart van flip, which is also where she gives the middle finger to the van flipping. Pretty cool shot. And then Galactus comes to New York City. I almost read New York NYCC, New York Comic Con. Galactus comes to Comic Con.
Honestly, was there? Well, I wasn't at MICC this year. I bet there are going to be some great Galactus costumes.
There was a giant Galactus costume. Remember that?
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Okay. Best villain. The Leader, Captain America Brave New World. Mayor Fisk from Daredevil Born Again. Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, Thunderbolts. The Hood / Parker Robbins from Ironheart. Or Galactus from the Fantastic Four.
That's a fun category.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to have some real like contenders
options
there. Yeah.
Like Val is a sneaky one. I was going through, it's like, I think she's technically the villain, even though you're kind of fighting against the Dark Sentry Shadow character. But she's kind of the one pulling the strings. Best romance. Now, like, this is another example. 2024, I feel like there was one category, right? It was like Matt and Heather, and then Deadpool and Wolverine didn't really have one. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Matt and Heather, Frank and Karen, although that's kind of taking some of the baggage from the Netflix series.
Yeah, I know. Some of it's under the surface, but
No doubt.
I'm giving people need an opportunity to like stand what they're going to stand.
I still hope
ship
that
what they're going to ship. I guess
hope
that's what the kids say.
Yeah. That's fire fit. That's tough. I asked all my high school nephews and nieces for some words. That's tough. Apparently, tough is now like cool thing, like that's good, like I guess like badass, I guess, or something. You know, like tough.
Yeah.
We're not saying sus anymore.
20, so he gives me some. Okay. My
fit
my strategy with all
drip?
of that. I just try to like avoid any lingo.
Sure.
Because I'm worried that like as soon as I start using something, it's immediately outmoded. So I'm just like no abbreviations, nothing that's like in any way like particularly relevant to the moment. I'm just like going back to like whatever the lexicon was in 1878, and like that's where it stops.
That is an excellent piece of outerwear instead of fire fit.
Yeah, see, exactly. Timeless.
Best romance, Matt and Heather, Frank and Karen, Wilson and Vanessa, sneaky, Reed and Sue, Ben and Rachel. Those last two both from Fantastic Four, by the way.
Yep. I think you did too. I just rewatched Fantastic Four for the first time since theaters. And
is just for fun, or is that where you are in your rewatch? You're almost done.
No. My mom was in town and she hadn't seen it. But she kind of like she grew up on the original cartoon. That was kind of her like Saturday morning cartoon experience, which is fun.
That's awesome.
And yeah, she loved it. But yeah, I kind of had that fresh in my mind. And it is, again, it's pretty understated. But the moment at the end of Fantastic Four, you know, when she's like, "Are you here for spiritual guidance?" And he's like, "No, I'm just here to spend time with you." It is a nice little.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's sweet. Nice, Ben.
Okay, best surprise appearance. Liv Tyler as Betty Ross. Captain America: Brave New World. John Bernthal as Frank Castle. Lewis Pullman as Sentry. Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto. And Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man in the Fantastic Four.
What do you think is the most surprise appearance there? What would you pick? I'm going to ruin one category.
Wow. Well, see, it's hard because every time we get to this category specifically, which I do like there have been times where I even have like voted for something or thought of something as a surprise appearance, and then I'll like talk to Greg or other folks in the Discord, and it's like, oh no, this was like known for months ahead of time that they were going to show up. But I never know, like...
It was surprising to you.
Yeah. And I'm still pretty plugged in, you know, compared to like the average person. So I'm trying to keep in mind. Like, for instance, Lewis Pullman as Sentry is like... I was looking at it and I knew it was a character named Bob. And so I was like, well, that's what they're going to do. Just with like the other clues. And we kind of talked about it.
Right.
But I do think it was
surprising to me.
It
was surprising to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I want to honor that and not like I feel like it's a little bit it undercuts it if I bring in too much like outside knowledge. So I'm trying to kind of take it on its own terms.
I know. I think like for me, I think for me in a perfect world, these would all be surprising appearances. It's just objectively more fun when you literally have no idea, and then all of a sudden,
for sure.
Like for example, if somehow you could wipe your brain and nothing ever happened before Doomsday, don't you think the whole time you're watching you'd be like, oh my gosh, Chris Evans, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Don't you think you'd be that the whole time?
I mean, probably? I feel like I knew so little about Infinity War beforehand even. And you know, again, we didn't have the podcast, but like a part of that was they kept a lot of things under wraps, and part of it is I sort of try to be willfully blind to those things. But it's just kind of a different era with that stuff. Like I was telling you the other day, I was having a conversation with someone casually, like outside of the courthouse the other day after a hearing. And they just started kind of like dropping these spoilers of things that had leaked about Doomsday that sound like legitimate. None of them were like, I think that they're more like future trailer spoilers than anything probably. So it wasn't like a devastating thing. But I just realized like, yeah, there's so much out there. It's so easy to find. It's kind of hard to escape now. So I do think like the true surprises, like the first time we get Val in Falcon Winter Soldier was a true surprise. Like, and I remember them talking about how much they had to work to preserve that. And so I would say, like, out of this, like, I know that there were some rumblings for years about Sacha Baron Cohen. I think like that had, like, in my mind, that had dissipated so much that I didn't know if it was ever actually true or not.
And one thing that's nice about that is the shows always, I think, have potential to surprise us more when we see them early. Like, for example, when that happened with Ironheart and you'd seen it early, there's nothing else to bounce it off yet. So I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, we're doing this. Crazy, you know? All right, anyways, this category is very similar, especially on a year like this. You'll see why in a second. Best cameo appearance. Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes in Brave New World, obviously not in Thunderbolts. Tony Dalton as the swordsman in Born Again. That's a good one. I'm going to mess this up. Mohan Kapoor as Yusuf Khan in Daredevil Born Again. Great cameo. Oh boy. Don't judge me. Gabrielle Bindloss as Olivia Walker in Thunderbolts.
Seems right.
Jim Rash as Professor Wilkes in Ironheart. Oh my goodness. And then Alex Hyde White, Rebecca Staub, Jay Underwood, and Michael Bailey Smith as the 1994 Fantastic Four.
Nice.
So
hey, well
again,
done. There were some.
What classifies as a cameo versus a surprise appearance is like Liv Tyler is almost a cameo. So that just give us some grace on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Vote your conscience.
But you know, but like with Liv Tyler, that's another one of those things where I feel like we talked about how Liv Tyler was likely showing up or rumored to show up or like kind of semi-confirmed, but ultimately like she shows up at the very end of the movie and it is sort of a like, oh wow, she's actually here. So I feel like that registers as a surprise.
Fair.
Okay, this is fun and also kind of dovetails with these other categories a bit. Best credit scene. The leader warns of multiversal war from Captain America Brave New World. The Punisher goes free from Daredevil Born Again. The New Avengers spot the Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts. The Hood seeks magical help, Ironheart, and Doom finds Franklin, Fantastic Four.
Best needle drop, and here's where admittedly I need to go back and do some research because I don't remember all of these off the top of my head if you've only seen the movie once or twice. Elephant song title in Captain America Brave New World. Everything in Its Right Place by Radiohead. I know that one. In Daredevil Born Again. I think the very last scene of the last episode. Pony in Thunderbolts. Sinner Man in Ironheart. Let's Get Lost in the Fantastic Four First Steps.
And sticking with music, this is, unsurprisingly, always one of my favorites. And man, like I think I know what's going to win, but I think that it's maybe closer than I would have thought. Our nominees here are Laura Cartman's score for Captain America Brave New World, the Newton Brothers for Daredevil Born Again, Sun Lux for Thunderbolts, Dara Taylor for Ironheart, and Michael Giacchino for Fantastic Four First Steps.
That's a hard one for me. It also kind of comes down to what are you looking for in your scores? Because I feel like I remember talking about Fantastic Four having one of the best, like music carries so much of that movie the whole time. But is it fair to say that I actually remember a couple of themes more distinctly from Thunderbolts at times? I don't remember the music being as much a part of it, but there's some tracks where I'm like, oh, those are bangers on our journey through the MCU playlist. So
well, like
as an example,
the Daredevil Born Again and Thunderbolts scores are just so fun to listen to. Like the Fantastic Four is such a like dynamic score and it works so well with the movie, but there's something like I really love putting on the Thunderbolts soundtrack still.
Okay, we'll be right back with the major categories after a quick word from these sponsors. Best voice acting performance. Hudson Thames as Peter Parker from Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And here's where we're going to get, obviously, a lot of the animated categories here. Grace Song as Nico Min... Okay. 3, 2, 1, restart. Grace Song as Nico Minoru. Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn. Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel. Elizabeth Olsen as the Scarlet Witch. Simu Liu as Shang-Chi. Todd Williams as Blade Knight, and Winnie Harlow as Noni. Now, as a reminder, you might need to brush up on this stuff. This is from Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We had Wakanda for Eyes of Wakanda. We had Marvel Zombies. So those are kind of spread throughout those 3 shows. Yep, that's right. We didn't have X-Men 97 this year. It was the very end, I think, of last year or towards the end of last year. So, okay. Best Supporting Actress, Robbie.
Best Supporting Actress. Our nominees are Shira Haas as Sabra, Captain America Brave New World. Margarita Levieva as Heather Glenn. Again, sorry for mispronunciation here. JLD as Val, Geraldine Viswanathan as Mel, Viswanathan.
That's a crazy looking last name. That's long.
That's one of those where it's like I'm saying it like I'm pronouncing it for the first time in my head as I'm reading it out loud, which is never a good idea.
I thought that was pretty smooth, to be honest.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Lyric Ross as Natalie, and Julia Garner as Shalabal / the Silver Surfer.
Best Supporting Actor as Trevor would say. Okay, Harrison Ford as President Ross / Red Hulk. Vincent D'Onofrio as Mayor Wilson Fisk / Kingpin. David Harbour as Alexei Shuskatov / the Red Guardian. And I'm going to mess this one up. You can help me with this. Alden Ehrenreich how would you say that?
Ehrenreich?
Ehrenreich as Joe McGillicuddy / Zeke Stain. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Ebon Moss-Bacharach as The Thing. Which, by the way, I watched all of Punisher season 1 and 2, but I watched all of Punisher, and he's in that show. He's a main character in that show. And then I just saw him on something else. Can't remember. But anyways, there you go. Best Supporting Actor.
He's great. Also, without getting too far into it, as I was going through, it is really tough because I think the Fantastic Four movie does a really good job of giving every character a moment throughout the movie, to where I think that this is the only way you can really do it, to kind of put Johnny and the Thing in the supporting actor. I could see that not being the case the next Fantastic Four movie, but I think because of the focus on Franklin as the center of the whole plot, I think it's fair to say that like kind of the tension between what Reed is trying to figure out and like Sue being torn between like her role within the Fantastic Four and the Future Foundation and her role like as a mother. I think that it is a fair line to draw, but I also understand that some people could be reading this and thinking that, you know, all 4 of those people should be in the best lead and best or lead actress and lead actor categories.
Yeah. Okay, we're on best lead actress. Yeah, that's you.
Okay, best lead actress nominees: Deborah Ann Wall as Karen Page, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams, and Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm.
Best lead actor: Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, Charlie Cox as Matthew Murdoch, Lewis Pullman as Bob / Sentry, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Anthony Ramos as the Hood, and Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. That is a hard category. And so is best lead actress. Because, I could choose, I could make a legitimate argument for 2 or 3 in each category. That's tough.
Yeah.
Best lead actor.
I know. And
like,
yeah. Well, and you know, there are like like it's hard. Like, should Ghost be in one of these categories? Like, or like
the team is
John Walker,
so big.
but
Yeah.
I know it's tough.
Typically, like at the
again,
actual awards, you would only nominate one person from a movie. You can't have two supporting actresses nominated from a film, right? Or can you?
I think you. I know in the Emmys you can, but because I feel like the Succession year, like multiple cast members were nominated for that show, but I could be misremembering. But I think that, like, again, it's just hard to know where to close it off. And I think like the nominees that we have kind of have a more clearly defined supporting role.
Should we add?
But again,
on air, should we add Ghost to Best Supporting Actress? Did I miss that? Do you think there would be people that would want to vote for that? We can work that out, but.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do it.
Okay. So under Best Supporting Actress, we're going to add another person here. So that would be three people technically from Thunderbolts, but I feel okay about that because she has a lot of lines there for sure.
Yeah.
Does a great job
and
worthy of a nomination.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it's Hannah John Kamen, right?
Yep. Or Kamen,
for Ghost. Yeah, Kamen. Anyway. So yeah, we'll add that in, and then, I mean, do we also want to go ahead and add? Do we want to add John Walker for Best Supporting Actor while we're at it?
Let's do it. If you're listening, we just worked through that live. We're going to add John Walker as well under Best Supporting Actor. I'll keep going while you're typing that up. Best Writer / Writing Team, Jeff Trammell, and this is a little bit weird on these series because they have different writers and different writing teams, sometimes different directors for each episode. So we had to kind of choose a few. And so this is Jeff Trammell from Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. If you care, he did episode 1, 3, 5, 9, and 10. But I think the point there is the majority of them are him. Malcolm Spellman, Dalan Musan, and Rob Edwards for Captain America Brave New World. Dario Scardapane for Born Again. Now, he's the showrunner of Born Again, but he specifically wrote episodes 1, 8, and 9. Eric Pearson and Joanna Callow for Thunderbolts. Chinaka Hodge, episodes 1 and 6 for Ironheart. Eric Pearson, Jeff Kaplan, and Ian Springer for The Fantastic Four, First Steps. Mark Bernardin, which is episode 2 and 3. And Jeffrey Thorne for episodes 1 and 4 of Eyes of Wakanda. That's all of them. So that's just basically a vote for Eyes of Wakanda. And then Zeb Wells wrote all of Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, that's right.
I can talk for 20 minutes straight without needing an edit if it's just me giving a take. But when I read these names, I can't read and talk very well. I suck at it.
I know, which you would think would be, you just have to read it, right?
Just read. It's on the page.
Best director or directors, depending on the film.
Here we go.
Julius Ona for Captain America New World, friend of the pod. Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead for Daredevil Born Again, episodes 1, 8, and 9. Jake Schreier for Thunderbolts. Sam Bailey for episodes 1 through 3 of Ironheart, and Angela Barnes for episodes 4 through 6. Matt Shackman for Fantastic Four, First Steps, and Brian Andrews for Marvel Zombies.
By the way, even the two films that we had last year, I have a hard time deciding. I've been readjusting our rankings just barely when I'm going through the rewatch. I think Thunderbolts is my favorite movie of the year, but I love Fantastic Four, and that's hard. That's hard for me to decide.
Yeah, I know.
So when it comes to these categories too, like who did a better job directing it? Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah,
and they're so different tonally.
Yeah, well, and it gets fun looking at writing versus directing contributions and kind of like, because I think both films really have the stamp of their directors on them, but also it's like, I think that it's what's fun about those categories is kind of digging in not just to which was your favorite, but what was it about a particular movie that made it your favorite? And were there other things about another one that you actually liked more?
Right.
Like for whatever reason. And
Right.
that's why it's fun to have some really good options here.
And that's why we encourage our listeners to do that every year, where it's like, you can say the best action sequence was from Ironheart or Daredevil or something, and still not choose it as your favorite show or favorite film.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to, one movie doesn't have to just sweep the whole thing. You can separate out the different things.
I remember like the year we were doing Echo.
Yep.
Like that bowling alley fight scene was really cool.
Yep.
And like that would not be like the top of the pile for me by any means of that year, but it, like there are things where you can still like it's possible for something to not be in any way your favorite project and it still do certain things really, really well.
I think Everything Everywhere All at Once might be one of the 5 best films ever made, 10 best films ever made. I love it so much. But if you remember that year, that doesn't mean that, and I'm blanking on her name, should have won Best Supporting Actress over Angela Bassett.
Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. And I love that movie. It's way better than Wakanda Forever.
And she's great in it.
And she's great. I'm not bashing her. But come on, that's not the takeaway from that movie.
Yeah.
They're not asking her to do a ton of stuff. But that year, that movie won like 13 awards, and I think they just wanted to be like, hey, this movie's so great. And I encourage our listeners to be like, yes, that movie is the best movie of the year, 100%. But also Angela Bassett did a lot in what she did, so I would have voted separately there. Okay, best episode of a series. Hero or Menace, this is episode 9 of your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Isle of Joy, episode 8 of Daredevil Born Again. I chose that one because I just remembered like that dance sequence at the party and Bullseye. I mean, I remember thinking it doesn't get better than this. That episode is unbelievable, where it's kind of all coming together. We in Danger Girl, episode 3 of Ironheart. Great. That's where we had to pause our screener. A great place to stop.
Oh, yeah.
The Last Panther, episode 4 of Eyes of Wakanda. And then episode 4 of Marvel Zombies. Now, don't crush me on this. I couldn't find episode titles for Marvel Zombies. I think it was just 1, 2, 3. It was just numbered, I think. So
yeah,
episode
I think some
4
series do. Yeah. I think that's how, like, I have noticed that with certain series. I couldn't remember if they had titles for Marvel Zombies.
Best series, Rob.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is where I do like having them combined. Even though I know normally we've broken out animated, just because I think it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting because of how good our first nominee was, your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Daredevil Born Again, Ironheart, Eyes of Wakanda, Marvel Zombies.
Okay, yeah, you did combine them. I get it. I think I sent them separated, yeah?
Oh, did you?
I don't know. This is better. Because otherwise it's 2 options versus 3 options, which is just dumb. It's not as cool.
Yeah, no, I think it was combined when you sent it.
Okay, good.
And I think it's good because, I mean, I'm biased maybe, but I'm pretty sure your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man would win the best animated series hands down. And I'm guessing
it might win this though. Ooh, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know. And like Daredevil Born Again and Ironheart is actually a good, I'm not sure.
Yep.
I think there's a case that folks could make for Ironheart for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, best film. Simple. Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, or The Fantastic Four, First Step. Simple, yet so hard. Which of the 3 films last year were your favorites? And then, Robbie, these last 3 categories are kind of bonus. They're not awards, really, but you and I love to actually get this information. I love this information. I want to know what is our audience most anticipating for next year. That matters to me.
I think that they're awards insofar as they reflect the quality of like the prior season of a series or like the marketing around it, or just I think like how good of a job the groundwork, like how well the groundwork has been laid. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm excited. Like, and again, this next category I think is a real toss up for me. But the most anticipated animated series.
And pause there. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 projects that we're about to list for 2026.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy. And like almost all of them I'm genuinely excited about.
That's also a unique thing, I think.
Yeah. Really all of them, actually. To varying degrees, but like that was not always the case
Correct.
In prior years. Okay. Most anticipated animated series of 2026, X-Men 97 Season 2, and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2.
Then the
Tough
most
one.
anticipated live action series of 2026, Wonder Man, Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, Vision Quest, and the Punisher special. And by the way, we don't have official date on the Punisher special release, but I think...
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm burping.
From what I've read, it's supposed to be around and right
Spider-Man.
Before.
That's right. Yep. Or right after, I don't know, somewhere this summer.
Okay. And then this is another, I mean, I think I know what's going to win here, but I think that these are about as much of like juggernauts as you can really have in the modern day MCU.
Correct.
In the same year. And so our most anticipated film of 2026 nominees are, of course, Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday.
That's it. That's the 2026 Friendlies celebrating the 2025 season in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But for the first time ever, Robbie has added a little bonus question that I think will be really fun. Again, just for us to kind of get our minds around. Bonus question for you, Friends from Work Plus subscribers. What was your favorite non-Marvel film or TV project of 2025? Robbie, I think you should add 2 bonus questions. You should also add, what is your most anticipated non-Marvel project for 2026? Let me see that.
Yeah,
and why is it the Odyssey? Have we been doing this a long time? I think so. I think so. Seasoned vets at this point. So what was your favorite non-Marvel film of or TV project of 2025? What was my favorite non-Marvel? Severance Season 2 was probably my favorite non-Marvel, for sure, TV project. Movie? What movie did I see this year that blew my mind? I'd have to look back. And then what's your most anticipated non-Marvel project 2026? Guys, thank you so much. Let's go. So again, logistics, vote on this. It's a form. You can just click on these bubbles, double check your work, make sure you're happy with what you're voting on, and then get your votes in really quickly so that Robbie and I can tally them for next week's announcement episode. I also want to share, there's a lot going on here on Friends from Work. So just to get your mind right in all this, Robbie and I have put out a couple Marvelettes reacting to the Avengers Doomsday teasers. I hope to kind of keep that trend going. We never know what's going to drop. I know there's at least one more teaser coming out, and so that is going to start the hype train for sure. So be on the lookout for those. On Friends from Work Plus, I've been putting out some fun Kyle Listen episodes. Those are actually done by Neil Sharnick. He's incredible. It's got a totally different vibe than what we do on Friends from Work. It almost feels like an NPR podcast, and I think you're going to love it. So that's on Friends from Work Plus. Not to mention, we're doing some fun other episodes over there, including, Robbie, I think we have to pretty soon do a Marvel Comics 101 check-in with Captain America Winter Soldier, and we have to do an Age of Ultron live watch-through again. Full audio commentary.
That's right.
Would be fun to do on Friends from Work Plus. But then the calendar for Friends from Work is also looking pretty jam-packed. Robbie and I just got confirmation that we have our screeners. We're recording this a few days early. By the time you're hearing this episode, we already have our Wonder Man screeners. Not sure how many episodes that is. I think Robbie and I are anticipating doing the Friendly winners as an episode and then breaking Wonder Man hopefully into 2 episodes 1 through 4 of Wonder Man and then 4 through 8. I think it's 8. Don't quote me on all that. And then after that, I want to do our typical annual tradition of following up on our bold predictions from last year and then making bold predictions for this jam-packed season in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then we're almost to Daredevil dropping at that point. So lots going on. And then I'll also just give one tiny little plug. I did 3 or 4 Friends from Football episodes this year that are available everywhere on our main feed. So it's not a separate podcast anymore. It's under Friends from Work. You'll find the artwork there that says Friends from Football. I dropped a few of those and maybe hope to do a few more of those this off season / maybe going into next year, next football season as well. Maybe a few surprise guests. Could be kind of fun. So anyways, a lot going on there.
It's me.
It's Robbie. He's coming on to talk about the Dallas Cowboys for us.
You know me.
Robbie, how'd you feel about the 2025 Dallas Cowboys season?
Undecided.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. We're all undecided on it, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Please don't forget to click the like and subscribe button and rate, review this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. We love you guys. We'll see you next week talking about the winners right back here on Friends from Work.